So I was gonna take a photo walk today with my Fuji X Pro 2 and shoot some JPEG recipes, and all of a sudden it decided to come an abnormally abnormal April snowstorm. Yo, it's coming like a blistering April snowstorm right now. I mean, it's pounding it down. I figured I would pivot a little bit and talk to you about why you should be shooting JPEG recipes with your Fujifilm camera. And before we get a keyboard war down in the comments below,
in the war tonight, I'll make that deal. How about you bitch? You make that deal?
I'd make that deal.
I don't blame you.
I personally don't care if you prefer JPEGs or RAW. I think to each their own. I do both. I like it all. I think it's all fun and it all has its purpose. But I think in recent years, Fujifilm JPEG recipes have become more and more prominent. Now, they are nothing new to the Fuji platform. I've been shooting recipes for well over 5 years now, and JPEG recipes are not anything proprietary to Fuji. You can manipulate most of your modern day cameras JPEGs. However, there has been a recent boom in the past couple of years with recipes specifically for Fuji because new users are finding Fujifilm cameras and migrating over to the platform. And I actually think it's pretty exciting that an audience that's not a traditional photography crowd is finding joy in shooting with these cameras. I personally find great joy in shooting with Fujifilm cameras. With that, I'm gonna give you 3 reasons why I think you should be shooting JPEG recipes, starting with number 1, and that is efficiency. Shooting a JPEG recipe takes very minimal effort when it comes to getting to a finished product, and I think that this is something, again, with folks now finding the Fujifilm platform specifically, really understanding that I don't have to put my images into an editing suite like Lightroom or Capture One or anything that you prefer editing in order to get an image that is viewable to an audience. Me personally, I shoot JPEG recipes no different than I shoot film, which means whatever I get out of the camera, that's probably what I'm gonna display, whether it be on social media. Maybe I find an image that I take to print, but I do not edit my JPEG recipes. I shoot it, I get the image, and at that point in time, to me, it's complete, it's viewable. So all of the work is done on the upfront whenever I'm putting in the settings for whatever recipe I'm shooting. Secondly, I think that recipes are great for a beginner photographer. Whenever you get your first camera, there's enough to think about and enough inundating information with having to worry about exposure, composition, framing, all of the above when it comes to being new to photography. The last thing that I want somebody to be discouraged with is not being able to edit photos like they want to just yet. I think it's much more important to focus on those beginning aspects of photography, and the JPEG recipes help do that because you're not having to worry about stylistic choices at that point in time. All you're focusing on is the basics of photography: exposure, composition, framing. So for that reason, I think that recipes are great for maybe shortening the learning curve for a beginner photographer. Thirdly, the reason I think you should be shooting JPEG recipes is if you have any interest in a quote film aesthetic, recipes are a great way to emulate film, again, without having to put in a lot of hours in post-processing. The film aesthetic is something that does take practice to learn whenever you are editing your images in an editing suite, Lightroom, Capture One, Photoshop, whatever you're using. However, with recipes, there are some great emulations for a lot of folks' favorite film stocks. Now, are these recipes going to be spot on like any of their film stock counterparts? No, they're not going to be a one-for-one translation, and that's not the idea behind a recipe anyways. We are trying to emulate film, not duplicate film. Although that would be pretty cool because film is friggin' expensive right now to shoot. All in all, what I'm trying to say with this short video is regardless of if you're a beginning photographer, you're new to Fujifilm, or you're new to the idea of manipulating JPEGs, I think that recipes are a great start for anyone in one of those 3 boats. Enough about what I think though. I would love to know your thoughts on JPEG recipes. Do you shoot them? Do you hate them? Are you a raw lifer forever? Let me know those things down in the comments below. And as always, thank you for being a part of this channel. I love growing this community here on YouTube. Y'all have a good one, and we will see you in the next.